everybody. I'm George Williams. I am the Next Search Catalog Coordinator at Northeast Kansas Library System.
And I'm Christopher Brannon with the Coeur d'Alene Public Library and the Cooperative Information Network. And this week, you're going to be walking us through some information about an upcoming feature for at least Bywater uh, uh, customers that is referring to three different bugs in my notes. Bug 26170, bug 35474, and bug 36825. And this has to do with a protected status that will be a new feature in Koha.
Well, I only know one of those bugs, but yeah, I'm going to talk about the protected status, which is a new feature in 2405. And there was already been some discussion about this, and there's already been a patch submitted for one of those bugs that I know of. So let's talk about this.
This video is sponsored by koha-US, your place to look for all things Koha. Whether you're just starting out with Koha, or you've been with Koha for a while, koha-US is a great place to find resources, learn new tips and techniques, or connect with other users and libraries. Koha-US provides excellent information, both original and curated from around the world, including your favorite terrific every other Thursday training videos. You'll also find several special interest groups, or SIGs, to connect with, as well as our general monthly meetings where we gather to talk about the latest Koha news. You should also check out the annual Koha conference, which is held in various locations around the U.S. This year we'll be gathering in Round Rock, Texas. This is a great opportunity to meet with other users face-to-face, and build your Koha network, as well as new friendships. And of course, don't forget about the great presentations. Koha-US is also actively involved in the Koha community by contributing towards new developments. If you are interested in contributing towards Koha-US funded developments, join the Koha-US membership. Your annual membership builds the funds to sponsor new developments in the community. And as a member you also help shape Koha-US with your membership votes, as well as receive a discount on the annual conference. You can also contribute towards developments through a direct donation, or by purchasing some great Koha-US merchandise through our Threadless account. Visit us at koha-us.org to find out more.
Hey, look, it's the koha-US website. And there's a page about the koha-US annual conference in Round Rock. That's coming that'll be a week from the day this comes out. We'll actually be in Texas. It starts August 13th through 16th. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll see you all there. But the feature I'm actually going to talk about today is called Protected Patrons. And this is a new feature in 2405. And if you're like us, we're Bywater Solutions customers. So we are going to be getting this upgrade in September. And it's a nice feature where it is now possible to protect patrons from being deleted. So this way, if you have a patron that is, well, let me just show you. So let me find my notes here. And so this patron is Abigail Frosty. She's one of my many, 40 or 50 test patrons that I've got with the last name Frosty. And let's say though that this was the statistical patron called anonymous patron, the patron that all of the Koha, when you have when patrons have their circulation history set to never be remembered, you set up an anonymous patron. And what the problem is if somebody deletes that patron, that can present problems for you in the system. And so What you don't want is you don't want those patrons to be deleted. And so there's now a flag you can set on a patron account called protected, yes, no. So if the patron account protected flag is set to no, then when you go over to more and click on delete, if you click on that, you're going to delete the patron. And if we change it to edit, if we go back to edit and make them protected, then once it saves, if we go to more, you can't click delete. It will actually say patron is protected. And so it disables that delete button.
We can tell that it's protected because over by their name.
Yeah, and there's also this little lock,
Yeah.
font awesome icon with a little lock, padlock shows up next to their name. So here's one of the things that people have already figured out is problematic about this. I'm going to pull a Google Chrome window over here where I'm logged in as a Neckles staff test account. And this account is set up with the typical permissions that we give to circulation employees in Next Search Catalog. And so I've got the account's locked. I'm going to reload it just to make sure everything's good. Yeah, the account's locked. If I go to more, yeah, I can click on delete and nothing will happen. But I can also click on edit. And I can come down here and anybody can change the protected status from yes to no. And so it doesn't matter if the account is protected or not. There's no way currently in Koha to make it so that people can't just go in there and edit the account and make it and change that protected status. So if I reload this
we
here,
don't let that stop us.
No, we don't let that stop us. No. There is already, like I said, there is a bug, and it's bug 36085. Protected status should have a permission. This bug is already signed off on. So there will in the future, probably in Koha 2411, my guess would be that there will be a patch that makes it possible to set a permission on whether or not that status remains protected.
Awesome.
For right now, though, one of the things, like I said, I'm logged in here as G. Williams. And if we look at the editor, whenever anybody is logged in to Koha and they are a super librarian, the body tag on that page will have a class that says is super librarian. That's a class that you will see when the person logged in as a super librarian. If I do the same thing on this test patron, and I've got this open in Chrome, so let me find the body tag. There is no class there that says super librarian.
Makes sense.
So yeah, because that user is not a super librarian. So I've already got this on the Koha wiki, and by now I'm sure the URL for that is passed across the screen under us. But it's this simple code, and what it does is I'm just adding 3 lines to Internet User JS. The first one grabs that, this part of the page here that says protected yes or no. This is just part of a list in the HTML. And so this first piece of code is saying, find me on the patron add and edit page, which has this ID, find that label that says protected, and it's going to add a class to that whole list that says is protected. And then the next line says, find all of the radio buttons, all of the inputs that are in that list and disable them. And so it disables it for everybody. And then the next line comes back and it re-enables it if the class on the page is super librarian. So the first line sets the class for that list. The second line says disable all of the radio buttons in that list for all patrons. And then the third one says re-enable it if the person logged in is a super librarian. So once I add that, I'll be able to go back and reload the page. And so for when I'm logged in as G. Williams, who is a super librarian, I can change this yes, no button.
Okay.
And I can save that as a protected patron. And then let me pull my Chrome window back over where I'm logged in as Neckel's test. So the patron is locked. It's got that lock there, so it means they're protected. So that means the delete button is not available. And if I click on edit and scroll down, the radio buttons are also disabled now.
Nice.
So only super librarians can go in and modify that yes, no status. It doesn't mean, it'd be nice if when the patron's protected like this, if they were 100% not editable.
Right.
I would kind of prefer that.
Right,
But for right
because if
now,
we're going to protect an account, it's great that we can lock people out of deleting that account, but that's not going to stop them from changing something that we might depend on in that account.
yeah, it wouldn't prevent them from changing the password on the account, which might be, if this was an account used for
SIP.
SIP, that would be problematic.
Yes.
So there would be ways of saying, going in and grabbing the piece of code where that little lock is and doing some more development with this to make it so that you can't edit the patron if they have that lock symbol on their account. But at the very least, and it is on, like I said, it is on the jQuery library. I've already put the code up there so that it's easy for people to find. It will help until that bug is finally set into Koha so that there's a permission needed for that.
Right.
It'll prevent that deletion.
Well, I'm glad they're working in that direction because it's because what you're doing is what I would want to do. In fact, I would want to take it that one step further, and unless you're a super librarian, just gray out the edit link. And so hopefully down the road, there'll be another patch. Maybe they'll say, with that protected feature that they will put in a not a permission, but a property that you can select to say, how much do you want protected, and do you want them to be able to edit, or something of that nature. I can see that being easy enough to add on later.
Right.
But this is a good step in the right direction. However, I will say you're playing with the fire in altering things like disable the edit if you don't get it just right the first time around, because if you lock out the edit and you're not pointing at the right thing, or they change something down the road to where maybe it's not looking, or maybe that class has been moved somewhere,
Right.
you could
Or
lock out.
That's always the danger with jQuery. I'm rewritten jQuery because something that used to be a class was changed to an ID, or things that were IDs were changed to classes, or the class was moved, or there are all kinds of reasons. So,
although technically I could go in and just disable the JS.
Yeah,
that's
I can too.
disabling that. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's not it's not foolproof if the programmers decide to change things, but you know, you have some options there. So
Right.
I'm happy for the direction that it's going. I
So
mean,
what were the other?
technically we could have probably created a patron attribute to accomplish the same thing if they hadn't done this. This is just, I'm glad that they're doing something built in.
Right. What were the other two bugs that you had related to this feature?
Well, the bug 26170 is adding the protected status. The 35474 adds the icon on the page.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then the 36825 allow protected status to be hidden on borrower form.
Oh, so when you're creating a new borrower, it doesn't have the yes, no.
Right.
And the one that I mentioned there that adds the that makes the permission, then that would be bug 36085, which is similar in numbers to that third one you mentioned.
I'm curious. Let me see here. Yeah, so the borrower unwanted field. So that last bug allows you to hide that setting altogether if you don't want it to be seen.
I did see that bug because it does appear in the borrower unwanted field system preference, but checking it in the borrower unwanted system field preference,
and I guess
doesn't have any
because of
effect.
this, I guess because it's here, it's not like there is a setting that you can say I want this feature or don't want this feature. This is the way that you would say I don't want this feature.
Right.
Basically. So
and so there's no way to turn it off with the borrower unwanted field system preference.
It's what it looks like. I mean, technically you could protect the accounts and then go and hide this so that people can't see it, the switch at all.
Yeah.
That would be one way to do it. It would be the hard way. Even if you're a super librarian, you'd have to turn that back on and expose it to everybody, then go and change your settings and then go hide it again.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they're doing the patch for permissions as to who can use this feature.
Right. I think that's good step in the right direction.
Yeah. So, all right.
So this is a pretty simple little thing to do, and it won't be necessary forever because there's a permission coming, but I just wanted to share that with people because a lot of people have already commented on how wouldn't it really be nice if there was a way to restrict the use of this feature to just certain people.
Right. And even with that patch coming, again, you could alter this patch if you wanted to protect the editability of the patron. You can make a modification of this to protect that link if you want it. So
yeah, there's plenty of opportunities to make Koha do crazy stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're full of crazy ideas.
Yep. Some of them were even not bad.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see many of you at the conference coming up. So thank you for joining us again, and we'll see everybody at the conference. And if you're not there, we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
See you later.